And I want to lay down in those waters, my face covered by his hand. Ooh. Sometimes just behind the curtain and being able to watch this things around me happen, it's like, man, this is where the Lord has me, and it's cool to be a part of that. So the artist dream is still alive somewhere in me. The writer dream is still very much alive. I'm just happy where I'm at. I'm happy that the Lord has given me the ability to play music and write music. Ooh, take me down in Sinner's Creek.
Hey, I'm Daniel Epperson. Thank you for tuning in to Southern Music Showcase. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee at this awesome cabin. It's a dear friend of mine's place, and he's allowed us to come in, and I'm going to share some songs and some stories kind of from my journey to Nashville, Tennessee as an artist and a songwriter, and also back out. And I'm excited to share some of those stories and songs with you. So come in, let's go.
Hey, I'm Daniel Epperson. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. Singer-songwriter, used to be artist, kind of still artist, maybe, I don't know. But folks call me Boone. It's a long-time nickname that I've had, and it kind of stuck with me through my time in Nashville as an artist. And the label that I had signed to really wanted to do something different, and instead of the first name, last name, so they stuck with Boone. So as an artist, I have stuff on both sides of the house, my real name and then my nickname. But I started playing when I was about 13. I started on guitar. I messed around on bass. My dad had an old bass in the house that he had bought to try to learn, to kind of fill in this place in church. And he could do anything in the world, build anything, weld anything, nail anything together, didn't matter. But he really struggled playing the bass. And so eventually it got left in the corner, and I started getting really curious about it. And so that's where I started picking up music, and I just found that for whatever reason I had an ear for it. I could hear notes. I could hear them differently. I could hear something on the radio and kind of get an idea where it was at. And my dad caught on to that, and my mom at an earlier age, and decided to get me a guitar. They traded in the bass, and I started kind of teaching myself the ropes and learning from older folks that were around the area and a guy at church that played the piano. And ended up getting into writing music when I got into high school, and it was just a way to process things, and I had a lot of fun with it, and it helped me get through some tough times and just trying to figure life out. And so by the time I got out of high school, I went to work in the union as a laborer. The college life did not seem appealing to me, and so I started working, and I wrote through that whole time, and eventually got a song that started working for me. I wrote a song with some guys out of Nashville in the big city, and we kind of released this song, and me and my buddy shot a cheap music video for it, and it just took off. So that got me enough exposure to at least get a deal working in Nashville. And at the time I was living in a small town that I grew up in called Rockport, Indiana, which is along the Ohio River. It's southern Indiana. And small place, 2,000 folks, good folks, farmers, carpenters, just good hardworking people. And so that's what I grew up in, and So when I got to Nashville, it was I went from back roads to 4 lanes pretty quick, which was quite the shock. But yeah, I got a deal and started working my way through the potential of being able to move from my town into Nashville. And so my buddies threw me this big going away party, and I left that next morning, and I actually lost my deal before I even got to Nashville. So I'd already gotten kind of broken into the country music world before I even got out of Bowling Green. So I passed Bowling Green, Kentucky, and got a call, and these people encouraged me not to take the deal that I was getting ready to take, that I was moving for, and that kind of started my Nashville experience. Was that I didn't even make it into town yet, and I'd already kind of felt like I was on top of the world, and then was already at the lowest of the low. So I refused to go back home at that point. So I kept on driving, and I've worked for a family for a little while, and got my feet on the ground, and they made me some connections, and met these producers and started writing for them and playing for them. And as a country music artist, they loved what I was doing at the time, but they wanted to kind of hone in and find our sound, or my sound as an artist. As Boone, what is this guy's sound in Nashville, and how's he different? And me and a producer wrote this song together, and it was kind of the centerpiece for my time in Nashville. And it was called That Truck, and I'll play it for you. It's a song that me and a guy named Kevin Wayne wrote together, had big dreams for, but then the label kind of fell apart. And after about 3 years of trying to get this song moving, I was kind of back to square one, which is the story for a lot of people in Nashville. So I'll play it. It's called That Truck. Busted headlight, rusted tailgate. The horn don't blow, windows don't roll, paint starting to fade. Yeah, and anyone else would just call it a day. Pull the battery out and haul that old thing to a junkyard grave. But not you, 'cause to you, that truck holds the key to your life. The girl that you love, 'cause it caught her eye. She been riding shotgun since she climbed inside. That truck gets you back and forth to work, to pay off that house and get your kids to church. You'd be nowhere, another man stuck without that truck. That old bed was hauled more than rocks and dirt. From baseball teams to stage of dreams, where you played your first concert. She's got a lot of miles from cruising down memory lane. You think you want a new one, trade her in, but you can't. 'Cause to you, yeah, to you, that truck holds the key to your life. The girl that you love, 'cause it caught her eye. She's been riding shotgun since she climbed inside. That truck gets you back and forth to work, to pay off that house and get your kids to church. You'd be nowhere, another man stuck without that truck. That truck can get you back and forth to work, to pay off that house and get your kids to church. You'd be nowhere, another man stuck. Well, you laughed, you loved, you lived, and you learned so much in that truck. Busted headlight, rusted tailgate. So yeah, wrote that song with a good guy he's actually he passed away earlier this year, and left behind two girls and a mom and a wife, and just I wrote a lot of songs with him, and we did a lot of stuff together. He was my producer with the label, and that was kind of the song that I'd went from just kind of writing entry level songs in country music to when I got with this label. That was the kind of stuff that we were trying to write towards and find what our style was, what our songs were. And it was this blend between this old traditional country idea of what country music is and this modern trying not to be commercial country music. And so we kind of found a niche in between. I released a song under the name Boone, that was not country. It was this pop country song that it still haunts me, but gave me a lot of opportunities. And so it was kind of this weird path trying to figure out what I was supposed to do and what I was supposed to write. And, you had to play the game as an artist or as a writer, but I really lost myself through that, in that game, trying to figure out who was who and what was what and what our songs were supposed to be. We built this huge record, and I toured all across the country, met everybody I wanted to meet, played with amazing people, a lot of stages, big stages, little stages, and spent most of that time just feeling like I was empty, because who I came to Nashville as was kind of no longer alive during my time in Nashville. I just became this artist that commercial country was trying to build and make money off of. And I kind of lost myself in that. So through the years of living in Nashville, I really battled with trying to write real authentic music that I believed in and stuff that I wanted to play and I felt like needed to be heard or needed to be out in the world for other people to relate to. I struggled with that versus, trying to keep a job as a touring artist or an artist with a label. And during that whole 3 years with this label that I was with, I never made a dime, but I never really paid for things. Like I didn't have to pay for the record, I didn't have to pay for the touring, but then I never got a check. So it's kind of like, I won't say anything to you if you don't say anything to me. And it just, at the end of the day, it worked. But back home, all of these people back home that loved me and supported me and prayed for me, and they saw this kid that had went to Nashville and made it. They saw this. They got on CMT at night, and they would see me on there. Or they would walk out of a Walmart in California, and somebody would call me and say, "I just heard your song in Walmart, and I'm sleeping in a park until I can get to a buddy's house the next night, to stay somewhere with a couch and with a bed." And it was just, I felt this this need to keep it up, things are going great, Failure wasn't an option. Letting people know how bad it wasn't an option. It was just, I was doing the music thing, chasing the dream. And I had met these folks in Alabama during one of my tours that we did. And some folks in Nashville, a really good friend in Nashville, had referred me to these people, and they said, "Man, when you're down in Alabama," it was right around Dothan, Alabama. I was passing through to play a gig in Dothan and then going on to Florida. And they said, "When you go down there, look this family up. You'll love them. They're just like you. You're just like them. You'd fit right in." And I got down there. I was playing a bar called Cowboys in Dothan. It's a really bizarre place out in the middle of nowhere. And I was kind of lost through that whole time, just trying to figure out what I was doing musically. I really loved playing old country music. I grew up on George Jones and Merle Haggard and all the good stuff, but I was playing this newer stuff that they were wanting me to write, and was just really conflicted with things. And so I stayed at Cowboys that week. I had 3 to 4 shows in 1 week. And so they would hire you to stay in a band house, and you would live in this band house right down the road from the bar. And you would stay there for a week and come out and play those shows at night. So I met up with this family in between on one of my days off. And I got to driving down the driveway, and the guy had told me that they were, all the people in the family were doctors, were orthopedic surgeons, or really, really amazing people. And when I drove down, this guy stopped me in the driveway and asked if I could come out and help him plow the sugarcane patch. And I was like, absolutely. It was on my bucket list, but I didn't know anybody. And I drove out to the pasture. His son was out there, who ended up becoming one of my best friends. And I took my jacket off and I got down in the dirt and I plowed a field with a team of horses with him. And it was like this bizarre world that I got sucked into it, and it was everything that I needed. These people loved the Lord. They loved life. They were these incredibly accomplished physicians, but then they loved this older way of living that just connected them to the roots of where they were from. And it felt like that for me too. And so every time I played in Alabama or I was around, I loved going to this place, and I kind of disappeared into this place. It was the only place I felt like I could be myself. And I wrote this song about it through the eyes of my buddy who grew up there. And the road they lived on was called Holland Road. And so I grew up in a similar kind of country town and way of living, and it just resonated with me. So I wrote this song, and it's called Holland Road. We grew up in an old farmhouse about 15 miles west of Dothan town. We rode bareback and we caught fish. Daddy raised fields of cane, Mama raised the kids. We swore we found the place God hid his gold down on Holland Road. We rode through those wild horse summers, racing old mares alongside of my brother. I still feel that southern wind calling my name. Times got tight, but family got tighter. Learned how to love and how to be a fighter for the things that matter most. Well, I learned everything. Yeah, I grew up and I'll grow old down on Holland Road. I left home more than most folks do, chasing dreams and steers and women too. I've climbed mountains with my bare hands, but now I cut and stitch like my old man. I found the Lord, and I found my soul down on Holland Road. We rode through those wild horse summers, racing old mares alongside of my brother. I still feel that southern wind calling my name. Times got tight, but family got tighter. Learned how to love and how to be a fighter. The things that matter most, well, I learned everything. Yeah, I grew up and I'll grow old down on Holland Road. I moved on, but no matter where I go, there's only one place that'll lead me home. We rode through those wild horse summers, racing old mares alongside of my brother. I can still feel that southern wind calling my name. Times got tight, but family got tighter. Learned how to love and how to be a fighter for the things that matter most. Singing on Sundays. Yeah, I grew up and I'll grow old. I found the Lord and I still call home down on Holland Road. We grew up in an old farmhouse about 15 miles west of Dothan town. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wrote that song, and about the time that I wrote that song, I'd come back to Nashville and realized how much I was missing out on. Like, that was life. That was who I was. That place, those people. That was the life that I had realized that I was missing, and that was me. And so when I got back to Nashville, it was quickly back into this cat and mouse game of just trying to stay at the top, or trying to get to the top and stay at the top, trying to be relevant, stay relevant. And in order to do that, it was no longer about playing the songs like Holland Road that make you feel something, or make you hear a story and relate to it. It was about trying to sell the next big thing, trying to fit in with the crowd. And at that time, I was going into writing appointments, and producers were, before you even talked about what you were going to write about, they'd spin around in their chair and they'd get on the computer and say, all right, let's listen to the top 3 country songs that are out right now. And then we had listened to these top 3 horrible songs. This was the intro to the bro country era, you know. So you're just listening to this meaningless music that's it literally just has no meaning. It's just ear candy to folks. And they would turn back around and be like, okay, let's write something like that. And then they'd start this groove that every country song that was out sounded like. I'm like, man, this is not, like, how do you ever break this cycle? If people don't like what they're hearing on the radio, why are we still feeding them this stuff? And it just opened my eyes to what the industry was really like. You know, it's not what it used to be, but it's never been what it used to be. It's just continually changing. And so a lot of these producers are just trying to change with it and sell what's hot while it's hot until the next big thing comes around. So it became less about giving people music that meant something and can make them feel something. Not every song has to be this song of, you know, coming to salvation and a story of, you know, this great realization of, oh man, that was an incredible message. It doesn't always have to be like that, but it just quickly got away from all of these people were saying they loved country music, all of these artists, and their heroes were Merle Haggard, and then they're coming out with songs like Country Girl, Shake It For Me. And it's like, man, where are we at? Like, where are we at in country music? And I just felt like before I went that's where I belonged, was country music. And then I got here, or I got there, and realized that I was so out of place. And so I met a lot of great people, a lot of great writers, a lot of great producers, a lot of amazing people that changed my life forever. But then I also just got in with people that I was just a number. I was an actor. I was a pawn piece, you know. And so I realized that after I got out. And I got married. I left Nashville. I got burned really, really bad by a label who just spent 3 years with me. And then they just hung me out to dry because some producer in Hollywood told them to move on. And I didn't get a phone call. I got ghosted for a couple months, and then finally they kind of told me that was it. And so I went back home, and I had gotten married, and the Lord just started growing my story in a different direction. And I worked on the Ohio River for a little while as a deckhand, or I was attempting to be a deckhand, but I was operating heavy machinery on the river, heavy equipment, which was really fun. And then it also had some not fun times. But I decided that I thought the Lord was leading us into the military. So I joined the military and finally got to do what I'd always wanted to do as a kid. And when I was there, I finally found who I really was. It was like I was made to be a husband and made to be a father, made to serve our country and love the Lord. And it was like all that finally clicked when I left Nashville. I'm not saying it was just Nashville's problem. It was a problem in my heart. But I finally kind of found who I was. And looking back and reflecting during my time in the military, I still wrote. I wrote in the field. I wrote at 2 o'clock in the morning in a patrol base of guys where we finally got to lay our heads down, and I'd be in a sleeping bag in the mud and the rain, just thinking about songs when we didn't have to think about other stuff. And so this song came out of that. I was kind of finally able to get out of Nashville and see what I was in Nashville, and I was a puppet at the end of the day. And this song came from that. It's called Strings. Cue up the camera and read me the line. I'll give you the gold the frame seeks to find. Throw on my mask and I'll disappear. When I look in the mirror, I won't be the one here. Pull the strings, I'll do the dance. I won't blink an eye when you pull on my hands. Move me about, I'll sway for the sea. I'm just a boy that's a slave to the strings. You'll never know me as long as I live, pretending to be someone else is a gift. Oh, but to all of the riches they all seek to find, it may be a gift, but it's drowned in my mind. It may be a gift, but it's drowned in my mind. Pull the strings, I'll do the dance. I won't blink an eye when you pull on my hands. Move me about, I'll sway for the sea.
Hey, I'm Daniel Epperson, and if y'all are interested in learning how to play guitar, banjo, or mandolin, you can go to banjobenclark.com, and there you can do a free trial and see if you like it. And if not, well, there's plenty of lessons on YouTube too under Banjo Ben Clark, and you can start your journey or continue it on the banjo, mandolin, or guitar.
If you're needing a friend, they put me up until Thursday at the Riddler's Inn. So paint up your face and let's cut through the noise. You be the clown, I'll be old honey boy.
Hey, I'm Daniel Epperson, and thank you so much for tuning in to Southern Music Showcase.
To cut through these strings and wonder